Well, it's time for a new video, which means it's time for a new project, and I am going with a miniature this time. Going with one that's been in my collection for a very long time. Got this back in 1985 when Ral Partha had its 10th anniversary. So this is Ral Lord of the Balrogs. It came in 4 pieces. This is one of the old lead guys here. Got the head, goes on like so, and then got the wings. Move these out of the way here, and those will go on the back there. So for base, I'm just going to use one of these old Citadel flying bases. When I got a box of plague drones, I got 3 of these and then 3 of the clear bases, and I kind of like the clear bases for those. So, but what I'm planning on doing with this guy, I've got 2 different color primers. Got the Vallejo surface primer and the old standby Steino Res Black. I'm planning on doing something special with his skin. So for that, I'm going to go with the Vallejo, the gray surface primer. And then everything else is going to be black. I might actually use the gray for the hair. The hair is like all flames, so that should be pretty fun to do. But yeah, I got a special little technique in line for this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and put him down. He's all cleaned up. Funny thing, since I've had this since 1985, when I first started painting minis, I knew nothing about priming. So this guy had probably about 4, maybe 5 coats of paint on him when I stripped him down, and I put him in the sonic cleaner with some. First I used Simple Green, and that didn't really do it. And then I found out about LA's Totally Awesome, which you can find that at dollar stores. Takes off paint off minis perfectly. I did have to do some brush work on here with the brush here, with the wire brush, and yeah, I got them all cleaned up. One thing with this one that I've always thought was odd was this this section of armor that's like in between his legs here. That thing is solid, so I think I might. I don't know. I think I might leave it black, because I really don't know if I want to try and texture that. I can take a look at it and see if maybe I could imitate the chainmail here, or the armor plating there, but we'll see. First thing on the table is I want to get him primed and ready to go. So, all right, I'm going to put him down, and when you see him, he will be both black and gray. Okay, I figured I'd show you this before I start doing any kind of priming. I didn't care for that big gap between the pieces of armor there, so I put some green stuff on there. Not official green stuff. This is the stuff I have from Gale Force 9. Put a little bit of texture on there too. I actually used a couple different things. Used the end of a pen there, and then let's see, get that in shot there. There's some ridges on the grip on my X-Acto. Then also on my sculpting tool, there's some pretty cool stuff right there, some patterns. And then I actually just took a piece of, it's not the easiest to see, but this section right here, I just laid across the back here and did a duplicate of that pattern. It's this side looks like it's better coverage than this side, but this one right here, there's some couple spots which were weren't the easiest, but I'm going to make do with what I have. Once this gets dry, Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'll get the gray primer on all the skin areas, and I will get the black primer on everything else. I'm also going to use the gray primer for the hair, or the flames rather, and I think I might actually do 2 different colors for either side of the wings because I've got a idea for that I want to do for the skin, which will also translate onto the underside of the wings. I'd like to do like a charcoal black on this side and do some like ashen areas since he is a fire demon, and then this side is going to be my little special effect that I plan on doing with all the skin on the rest of the figure. So alright, I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then I will go ahead. I could probably brush on the primer. It's both Stynylrez and the Vallejo surface primer. They can be used with either brush or airbrush. I also have my scale here. I like to make sure that when I'm mixing these epoxy putties that I have, it's not just doing it by eye. I like to get a good measurement, and instead of ounces I actually use grams, which seems to give it a little bit more precise piece of measurement there. But yeah, then go on to getting this guy primed and start the fun task of painting him up. And there's you could probably see some green in here, and then if you look on the other side here, there's some green there as well. That's not green stuff. That's old squadron putty that I used to. I took a ball of it, and when I put the wings in, it kind of contoured to the rest of the area here, so I wouldn't have any gaps. But I'm going to play around with a couple of different ideas on how to get around that this time. And yeah, I'm going to quit talking, get to the next segment, because you want to see some painting. Okay, see you then. Actually, I've got 2 different colors here. The outside is going to have the outside does have the black on it, and the inside has the gray, because I do want to use the same kind of effect that I'm going to use on the skin on the inside of the wings. So I'm going to go ahead and touch up a few areas with the light gray, and after that's dried I can go ahead and start blocking in some colors. So we will see what that looks like after I get done with that. Okay, the priming is done. There might be a few spots I have to touch up here and there as I go along, but I'll take it as I see it. The bands around the arms, I went back and cleaned those up. Just going over a few spots here. The base, I think I'm going to go ahead and use some cork. I want to make it more of like a stylized base, because he's not for gaming, he's just for like a centerpiece. So I'm going to use this as like rock. I'm going to do like a lava type base, since Balrog is a fire demon, and yeah, I'll build up some. I might build up another layer of cork here. We'll see if I can get it in frame. I'm taking pictures for the Facebook group too. So the colors I'll be using primarily will be some darker metallics for the armor. I was thinking about golds and bronzes, just something to offset the color of the skin. The majority of the skin I'm going to have a special effect on there, which we'll get to shortly. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start blocking in some of these colors, and you'll see that when we get back. Okay, so basing has begun. I've got 2 Citadel colors on here right now: Warp Block Bronze, some of the armor accents, and there we go. And also Lead Belcher for the chainmail detail. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this on there. The next armor color that I'm going to be using, I'm just going to go with a just want like a golden bronze armor for him. I figure since he's a a lord of the Balrogs. He should have some nicer looking armor, so he's going to have like a golden and brass armor. The gold that I'm going to use, well, at least to start off with, is going to be Citadel's Balthazar gold, and then I can just go ahead and highlight that up. But I'm going to do all the armor first and then do the skin. It's opposite of what I usually do. I usually do all the skin first. Normally you try to paint as you dress, but with him, since I'm doing a little bit of a special effect on the skin, I want to make sure that any skin details don't get obscured by the metallics once I start with those. But it's yeah, it's quick and messy right now, but it'll get cleaned up, and I'll just go ahead and keep on working on the base colors, and I'll show you what it looks like after it's done. Okay, so for the most part I've got all of the metallics laid down. I used Balthazar Gold, Warplock Bronze, and Lead Belcher. These are all Games Workshop colors, the Citadel color. And next I will go in and start putting down the base skin color, and after that I'll get some cleanup done and move on to the next segment. The wings I'm going to hold off on, and then the weapons we'll do last, because I have to get in there with some white and recolor the flames that got hit with the gold while I was painting it. And then yeah, the fire effect, just pretty simple. Lay down some white, some yellow, orange, red, and then some black for the where it gets the coldest. And yeah, and start working on the my little special effect for the skin. So I'm going to get working on that, and should be a little bit different when you see it next. Okay, I've gotten to the point where I'm starting to get some of the skin color down, the base skin color. I originally dropped into my tray here some Game Color, Vallejo Game Color Bloody Red. I was going between that and Scarlet Blood, but in the end I just went with Citadel's Evil Sun Scarlet. I did thin that down with my matte thinner. It is extremely thin, but that's what I want, because I want to be able to get at least 2 thin coats on here before I move on to the next stage in this. I'm not going to do any kind of shading or highlighting until the entire figure is blocked in. I just don't want to get to the point where I've gotten a really nice shade going, and then next thing I know I start painting in the skin and I paint over some of that nice shade that I just did, and I got to redo the whole thing. But I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this, and then I will probably do a dissolve into the next color. But as of right now, move my light there. Yeah, he's looking pretty red, but there is a method to my madness on this guy, and I hope he turns out the way my test pieces turned out, because it should look pretty cool. Okay, I figured I'd come back real quick and show you the underside of the wings. I'm just doing the red on the inside of the membranes here, just because I have that special effect that I want to do on these as well. I keep on teasing the special effect. I just hope it works, because if it doesn't, it's going to make me look like an idiot here. But yeah, I'm just laying this on quick and dirty. Nothing fancy about this. Not even a stipple, just blotting it on. So there, I got both wings 1 coat each. On Ral himself, 1 coat, 1 thin coat on him. I'm going to wait till it dries. I'm going to give it another 20 minutes because the matte thinner that I use, that I make, it also acts as a retarder for drying, which is nice because that way it doesn't dry up too fast on me. And it's, say if I were doing some wet blending, it's perfect for wet blending. But I'm going to get back to this, and once he gets a second coat, I will turn this back on for the next color. Okay, all the red is on, and I took a little bit of the some Tamiya red clear, thin that down just to give it a little bit more vibrancy. I thought I had some of the old Citadel washes before they came out with the new ones. I got some of these old ones here. Let me pull that out a little bit. Oh, wrong direction. Apparently the only ones I have left are orange, blue, and yellow. I thought I had red, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to, once this is dry here, I'm going to take some of the panel line accent that I have, and I'm just going to go and kind of define all of the, in the camera, all the texture in there before I start laying down the black. I'm going to do it like a charcoal black on the outside edge, and on this side I'm going to do some stippling with some very light grays and some whites to make it look like ash. And then on this side, after I get the I'm probably going to use the navy black since I like using that color so much. It gives it like a charcoal type look. I'm going to painstakingly go through and hit each one of these pieces of texture, and with a color a little bit lighter, and just to get a little bit more out of that. But as for right now, I'm going on to the next color for him. It's going to be the only orange I have is, well, the only orange that looks like it would work on here is some Citadel Troll Slayer orange. It's one of the layer paints. I've thinned it down just with 1 drop of my matte thinner. I didn't want to go too crazy on it, but with this one, I'm just going to be I don't have to be like super neat about this because I'm going to put another color on top of this, but I want to get it in all the creases in his muscles. More paint on my brush there. And after this dries, I'm probably not going to worry about a second coat with this. But after this is completely dried, I'm going to go ahead and put like a line of yellow over the orange. I'm not going to get rid of the orange, but I just want to add an additional color to it. Not too much. I'm not trying to be super neat about it, but I don't want to make it all sloppy either. So I'll just use my thumb as a, get some of the excess paint off of there. I actually looked up on YouTube to see if there were any painting tutorials or even like finished model reviews of this figure of Ral, and I couldn't find any. There's a lot of the official Lord of the Rings Balrog stuff out there, and to be completely honest, I call me a bad fantasy fan, but until a little bit later in life, I didn't even realize that the Balrog was from Lord of the Rings, because I'm not really that much of a reader and didn't get too much into the fantasy stuff. It's playing D&D when I was a kid. I was just you found the stuff that was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm just adding a little bit to them, just and yeah, it does look a little messy there, but believe me, it's going to look a lot better once I finish him up. The only thing is that the final paint that I have to lay down on all this skin after it's all done is out of a rattle can. So when I did my testing on the bottom of a figure base, I sprayed it into a little cup, and then brushed it on, and it actually seemed to work. So when I'm ready to do the rest of this, I'll just go ahead and spray a nice amount into another container and brush it on liberally to all the areas. And within 45 minutes I should get the desired effect, which will be a crackle effect, which should make him look like he's made out of lava, and all that black crackle on him is like the cooler areas, and he's all liquid magma underneath the skin. So that's what the desired effect is. I said I've tested it already. I think after I lay down some of these colors here, I'm going to go ahead and grab the test piece, and I'll put it up here so you can take a look at it. And I'm not going for neatness here, because honestly, once the Crackle Paint starts to do its job, you're not even going to notice if this is neat or messy here. And obviously I don't want to make it look messy, but looking at some of the colors I have for the rest of him, this whip here, definitely going to use Rhinox hide for the actual whips. Citadel color, it's really good for dark brown leather, so I'll do that. I'll do a base with that, and then all these little, focus on there, all those little studs I'll just do with probably silver. Or I think I actually have a Vallejo chrome. I got so many paints I gotta take a look at. I can try out. And then the sword here, since there's like some runes carved into the blade. There you go. I'll try it with a wash first. If it doesn't look like it's going to work with a wash, I'll just grab that my Tamiya Panaline accent. And the tip of my brush is starting to get a little nasty. Let me clean this off. Actually, get some brush cleaner on this after I get done with this color. Okay, I'm going to take a closer look at some of this, and then the next one I'll show you is the little test piece I did for the crackle effect, so you can see an idea of what I want his skin to look like. Okay, I will be right back. Okay, so as promised, the test piece that I did the crackle effect on was this Reaper Bones Sharkman. I used the bottom of him on the base, and that is what it turned out to be. I'm pretty happy with that. That is 3 colors, red, orange, and yellow. The orange and yellow were kind of wet blended together. I might end up doing a little bit of the yellow as a little more watered down than the red and orange, but I've got those in the creases of his muscles, and it should come out pretty good. There, it's not really spotty or anything. Still looks pretty good. I haven't done it on the wings yet. I'm going to do more like stippling of the orange and the. Oops, just hit my camera. Just going to do more stippling of the orange and the yellow. But I'm going to go ahead and get the yellow down, or actually some orange on the inside of the membranes, and then after that I will look at let's see what these look like on my palette here. Let's see, they're going to be Vallejo Game Color Moon Yellow or Flash Gets Yellow. I think the Flash Gets Yellow is what I used on the test, but this Moon Yellow might be good if I want to put like a tiny line of white over it on the end product. So I'll take a look at that and see what it looks like, and once I start laying that down, I will turn the camera back on. Okay, so the orange and the yellow have both been laid down, and I'm doing a little bit of very tiny amount of Liquitex white ink. I'm doing it in the creases here. That should represent like the hottest areas. Yeah, it's better if I stay in there. And honestly, some of this might not even be seen after the crackle paint goes on. But I figure if it is, it should look pretty cool. Don't really want to go too crazy on it. I think that should be okay. Alright, I'm going to start working on the head next. I'm going to get some navy black, or I'm sorry, NATO black, the Tamiya color paint. I'm going to get that on him, and then I'm going to do some dry brushing with white, and then after that that'll be a good base for some reds and oranges on the face as well. I'm not going to do the crackle effect on the head because it's such a small area to work with. I don't want it to destroy any kind of detail that's on there. I could take care of that with I could take care of the detail with some dry brushing. So I will work on that and then let's see what it looks like. Okay, so I have the NATO black on the head. Went on fine. That was off the primer on this one was Stynylrez black, but I noticed something odd when I started to take care of the wings. This side was primed with the Vallejo surface primer, and there was some sort of a reaction between the Tamiya NATO black and the Stynylrez primer. It actually started to peel off as I was brushing it. This is on areas that had been brushed previously. Just when I would go over with another coat, it would come right off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till this is completely dry and take it outside, hit it with a coat of matte spray, seal it all in, and then I'll go ahead and take care of that. I'm not sure what the reaction, why the reaction was. It's probably something simple, but nonetheless, I know now that Stynylrez, or not Stynylrez, the Vallejo surface primer does not react well with Tamiya paints. Okay, work is progressing very well on Ral. I don't want the hair to get bleached out because of my light. Yeah, his hair, which is going to be all flames, is base coated in white. That's going to be a good base for all the other flame colors. Let's see, where is that here? The sword. I was hoping to do all the rune details with the panel line accent, but they're not recessed, they're raised, so I'll see what it looks like after I put some shading on there. That's the next step. I'm going to get some shading on him, and I'm probably looking at his head there. Got to add some more to the tongue, and then I guess put some shading. Shading will be, I obviously like a dark red for the inside of the mouth. Any of the gold pieces on the armor will be shaded with Agrex Earth Shade. The bronze will be shaded with either a Colia Green shade or a Athonian Camo shade. The silverish chainmail parts, probably Nuln Oil, then highlighted with a Runefang steel or some other steel. And I still have to do the Catandine Tails here and finish the sword. The sword will be shaded just like the gold parts on the armor. The wings, happy with the way they've turned out so far. They're not done yet, so don't look at this and be like, well, why are you showing us that? I'm going to gloss over the insides here, the molten parts of it, and then after that's dry, I'll add that Crackle Paint in there, and then whatever doesn't get shaded or colored by the Crackle Paint, then I'll go back in with the NATO black and fill that in. The other side, I don't think I'm going to hit every one of these scales individually. I might hit a few here and there, but then this whole top here is going to get like an ashen type look to it. But pretty happy with the way he's turning out, and next time you see him, he will have some shading on him. It might not be too apparent with this light, but yeah, I'm not going to do any of the skin colors. I'm not going to shade any of those. But yeah, the armor will be shaded, and then next time I turn this on, the Catandine Tails, that'll be painted up, and I should have the sword done too. I'll start working on the hair. Flames hair. So, okay, we'll see in a little bit then. Okay, so work progresses pretty quickly on him. He's been shaded on his armor bits. Let's see, where's that? Doesn't look too bad from here. Some of the shading is pretty subtle, like the the Athonian Camo shade on the bronze. The Nuln Oil came out really well, especially on the back there. So now I'm going to work on the Catandine Tails, get that done up, and then I might give him a coat of matte varnish just to seal everything in. I'm not wearing gloves right now, so there's a chance that some of the paint will rub off, but what I'll do next is, after I take care of that, let's see, I got his head in place there. I have to do some shading on the inside of his mouth and work on the teeth. I'll probably get some yellow for his eyes there, and then yeah, we'll get on to the next bit. But I'm pretty well liking the way he's looking so far. The wings here, might look a little sloppy right there, but the idea is that I'm going to go ahead and brush on that Crackle Paint, and then whatever doesn't get covered, I'll go ahead and just stipple in some more of the Natal Black, and then I have to worry about whether I want to just dry brush all these scales or hit some of them individually. This is not the right brush for that, though. It's a terrible brush. Just use this for shading. But like I said, I'm happy with the way he's turning out so far. After all the years I've had him, this is the one coat of paint I think I want to keep on him. Like I said earlier, I think he had maybe 3 or 4 coats of paint to begin with. None of those being a primer coat, because when I first started painting I had no idea what a primer coat was. So, but I'm going to go ahead and turn the recording button off and get back to him. And yeah, next time you see him, he will have a matte coat on him to protect everything. And I'll probably start working on the flames. So, okay. Okay, I just put some of the Crackle Paint onto the insides of the wings, so I'm going to leave the camera here and just turn it off, and then in about 45 minutes I'm going to turn it on and see what we got. Okay, so I've given this ample enough time to dry, and it's not exactly what I expected, but I really like it. I am really liking this. And the funny thing is, I'm the kind of person that I'm not going to worry about spoilers and all that, so I had to try it. I went ahead and brushed on, let's give it a focus there. I brushed on some of the remaining. There we go. That is just cool. That is just too cool. I'm liking that. I'm debating about whether I should give him a little bit more. I might try it on the back of his leg, on one of them, and see what it looks like. But I'm really enjoying this. This is pretty cool. This is probably the 4th or 5th coat of paint that this particular Balrog has had in the time that I've owned him. Like I said, when I originally got him, I was at that point where I was very new to painting. I knew nothing about priming, so I just went ahead and started slapping paint on, and next thing you know, I'm wondering, oh, why is my paint chipping off? So, kept with it, and like I said, I'm not the best painter out there, but I do enjoy what I do, and I think that looks really cool. I am going to weather up the bronze and the gold a little bit more just to make it stand out. Just because right now with the Crackle Paint on, he is a little bit darker than I thought. I thought it was going to be larger larger pieces, larger cracks, but I'm pretty happy with that though. That's pretty cool. And then if I take the wings and just do a little test fit there. Yeah, I'm liking that. But I'm going to go ahead and start working on the flames. Like I said I was going to before, but I got anxious. Sorry. Still want to give these a little bit more ashen. I did some dry brushing on them. Didn't come out too bad. I just need to put a little bit more color onto it, a little bit more white to give more of that ashen look. But then I've got this big old face here. I went ahead and see if I can get some. There we go. Focus. I got some washes on the inside of his mouth. Just have to do up his teeth. And then his hair, and this guy will be almost done. Then I get to work on the base. So, all right, I had to turn the camera on. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the rest of them. Okay, so we are at the next day after the crackle effect has been applied. Still pretty happy with this. And if it'll focus there. I did add a little bit more to the legs and the back. Didn't really add too much more than from what I wanted, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I did go back and paint the skulls here. They were hanging from his tabard, and I used a chamois bone and followed that up with a little bit of contrast skeleton horde. Started working on the hair because I got tired of everything getting bleached out whenever the hair was in frame. I painted the inside of the sword with an oily steel from Vallejo, and I'm going to go ahead and start blocking in all these little flames here so I can start doing the flame effect on both. The armor, after I get done with all this, I'm going to start doing some edge highlights to bring out all the high points and raised areas. And I'm probably going to do a little bit of put a little bit of a patina on some of these plates here. The Nuln oil was good on the middle here, but I think I'm going to add a little bit of either Agrax Earthshade to brown it up a little bit, or some probably like a Reichlet Flesh Shade. That'll give it more like a rusty look. Originally I thought I was going to go with a nice and pristine looking armor, but I love dirtying these things up, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And if you hear any kind of noise in the background, that's my washing machine. So, and I think a little bit of patina on the inside of these recessed areas, I think that'll look really cool. Okay, so I am doing a little bit more shading. Oh, I can turn this down. I'm actually watching or listening to one of my favorite channels, Aztec Dummy. Get a chance to check him out. Lou, he's a great guy. Does a lot of really nice sci-fi model kits. But back to Ral, the skulls on his tabard there. I've given them a coat of Agrax Earthshade, and not all of them, but I'm going to do a couple with some Athonian Camo Shade. It's like a greenish tint to it. The blade has got the white on there. I'm going to go in, try and clean up the runes on the sword before I do anything else, and then I'll start working on the flames. Flames so far look really cool. All I've really done is the yellow and the orange, and I'm keeping a little bit of the white here and there. There's one spot with the white that I just didn't want to, it was too much, so instead of paint I just went in with some yellow ink here and just touched that up a little bit. But the yeah, the armor in between his legs here, I'm giving that a coat of Agrax Earthshade just to darken it up a little bit, kind of dirty it up. The bronze booties that he's got here, those will get also some Athonian Camo Shade. It gives it that greenish tint to it, like a patina. I'm also going to do the same thing. I've got some of it on his shoulder pads here. Let me see if I can get it in some decent light here. I'm going to get a little bit more on there. Still loving the way the skin turned out. I'm going to go back and redo the hands a little bit, just with some NATO black, just to darken it up. I don't want to have to go back through and spray anything into a cup and wait for it to crackle. The hands can be like the head, in my opinion, which is how the head's turning out right now. He has the same flame effect on his head. So we're going to pop him there. Still have to, I did a little bit of shading on the inside of the mouth. I'm going to do a little bit more. I might actually take a Citadel technical paint called Blood for the Blood God and put a little bit of that in there. I got to do up his teeth. I might take some of that ink and do up his eyes real quick. And then I gotta get some red on the flames. And then I'm gonna do some of the tips in black, just to show the cooler areas. But he's coming along so nice. I am so glad that I held on to this guy for all these years. Like I said, it's he just tilted his head saying, well, yeah. I think it's one of those things in life where your skill set gets better with age. The longer you do it, the better you get at it. And when I first started painting, I didn't know a whole lot, and there's still stuff that I'm not completely set on. I mean, I'd love to be a master of doing non-metallic metals, but I got to do more practice with that. Finally gotten wet blending down, but yeah, so I'm going to go back and after I get some more shading on the skulls here, I'm going to do some more highlighting with them. I'll do a little bit more with the Ushabti bone, and then I'll bring up just the tops with probably Screaming Skull or another white, and then with let's see, where are my wings at? Gotta find my wings. That's the sword. The wings, I'm going to do a few. I got a few of these done. I think it would take a long time to get all those in there, but I still want to do that ash coating. So what I'm actually thinking about doing is using a white pastel, ground that down and just brush it on. I'll do a little bit of dry brushing first, but I'm really liking the way those turned out. Getting ahead of myself. I still got to do the claws there, and yeah, he's by no means close to being done, but he's getting there, and I'm really happy with how he's turning out so far. So I'm going to get back to it, and yeah, you'll see what next time you see him. He should have a lot more of this done. So, okay. Okay, so I've got a lot done on him since the last segment. Let's see. My messy workspace. I got got a nice little patina going on the bronze. Hair's done. Got the red, got some black tips. Got on the sword as well. And my light there. Oh, his head's in the way. There's his head. Hello, head. Ah. Get my dry skin out of the way. So I've got the black tips there. The eyes I just did with that ink that I just got. The mouth, I gave a coat of that blood for the blood god. Still have to do his teeth. That'll probably be like one of the last things I do on him. The Catandine Tails, I'm really happy with the way this turned out. If it'll focus, maybe if I pull it back enough. But I did a black wash. A lot of these will be able to see it better in the final pictures too. I did a black wash over the Rhinox hide, and I'm going to dry brush it a little bit with the original, with the Rhinox hide, and then after that I'm going to do a color called Scrag Brown. It's really good for aging leather. So I'm going to do that as an edge highlight. There were a couple other, if I can get it in focus, were a couple other edge highlights I did. I'm not sure how well you can see it on the camera, but through the fronts of the armor plates there, I think the light's really washing everything out. Cleaned up the banding around his arms. Cleaned up his hands. I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing with some grays. Got a little bit of the nilic oxide on the bronze pieces. The skulls, I did, I got them out of focus, that's what I did. I did the skulls in a, well, I started off with Ushabti Bone, and then I put a coat of Agrax Earthshade, actually Seraphim Sepia, Agrax Earthshade, a little bit of Athonian Camel Shade, and then I didn't want to do a red shade, but I did want to get some red in there, so I just took some of the red when I was working on the flames. Got some dirty paint water with the red and just added a little bit of color to that. Not really a glaze, but a little bit more paint than a glaze. But I'm going to go ahead and get the Catandine Tails finished up. I have to clean up the handle, and my focus on this thing is terrible. But I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. And each individual whip on those will stand out a lot more once I do some edge highlighting with the Scrag Brown. But I'm going to dry brush it first with Rhinox hide to get it back to the original color. You'll still have the black in the recesses, but yeah, so far so good. I'm really happy with the way he's turning out. And after I do this, I will work on the wings a little bit. There, I want to work on this side here. Still debating about whether I want to just use some pigments, or not pigments, some pastels, grind those down into a powder, and then brush them on to the edges. But we'll see. But like I said, I'm really loving the way he's come out so far. It's just one of those things where you have these old figures in your collection that they might be collecting dust because you weren't too happy with the way you originally painted them. I'm going back and I'm finding a lot of figures that I had that I would like to repaint if I can. Let's see. One of my next ones that I'll be doing, it's not really a big project, but this little guy here, this little farmer guy, he was in a pack of 10 of the very first miniatures I ever got. Again, just slapped some paint on them and called it a day. So I recently took all that paint off, and yeah, I'm gonna redo them because I think I really should. Since I held on to one of my very first figures from my very first pack, I think I should give him a decent paint job. Not the best sculpt, but so what? We're gonna have some fun painting him. But yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself because that's what I do. I'm going to get back to Ral, get back to focusing him, and yeah, after I get him completed, I'll whip up a quick base with the cork. I'll do a lava effect. I might just use some Mod Podge gloss to make it shiny, and yeah, we will. This guy should be done for you soon. For me, in a few days. But I'm going to go ahead and get back to it. So, all right. Hope you like what you see so far. Okay, so this guy is pretty much done. It's assembled. Just finished up the mouth a little bit ago. There's a small area on the tip of the tongue. I just want to add a little bit of paint too. Looked like that kind of rubbed off a little bit, but for the most part, the ashen effect, I did that through some dry brushing. Just started off with a medium gray, worked myself up to white, more like a ghost white, like a very light gray, almost white, and then using some white pastel, I just brushed some of that over the wings to give it an ash look. Still really happy the way the skin turned out with the Crackle Paint. And I've got him fixed to a piece of cork here. I'm going to go ahead and get him on a base, and yeah, after that he should be ready for my display case. So I'm going to finish that up, and yeah, we'll come back for some final pictures. Okay, I wish I could have recorded the painting of the base, but apparently I ran out of room on the memory card, so I didn't realize it. But it's done. Well, about 98% done. I still want to give it a nice gloss coat of Mod Podge, and then after that I'm going to take some of the Crackle Paint and get close up to the base here and let that crackle a little bit. But apart from that, yeah, I have to get the edges too. Don't want to forget my edges. But really happy with the way he turned out. I said in the last segment, the Crackle Paint was an experiment that I was a little reluctant to try, especially on a model like this. And this guy deserves some accolades. You go onto YouTube, you don't see this one. You see all the current Balrogs and the movie Balrogs, but you don't see this guy. And he was a special piece and marked the 10th anniversary of Ral Partha. So I want to make sure that he was completely done up the way I really envisioned, and I think he was. Like I said, the ashen wings, that was something I decided on later on, which I'm really happy about. The wear and tear on the armor, pretty happy with the way that turned out. The little bit of patina on the bronze, the flame effect on the hair, I'm really enjoying that. And the base, I'll just go ahead and glue that down. Like I said, just a couple small things I got to finish up on here. This was done mainly with my airbrush. I used some Citadel colors, some Vallejo colors. I used the real old Citadel inks when they were in dropper bottles. Yeah, I'm loving this guy right now. So what I will do is I'm going to turn this off and I'll finish up the base. I'll probably put a little skull in there, since a lot of my stuff I put a little skull in there, even though he has skulls on his tabard there. I still want to add a skull. I was debating whether I should put this on magnets or not, but I think I like it the way it is. I don't think I'm going to take him off there, so I will go ahead and get that taken care of and fix him down permanently, and then come back for some final thoughts. Okay, presenting Ral, Lord of the Balrogs. Very happy with the way he turned out. I think everything I wanted to do on him I did accomplish. I'm really happy with the way not only the crackle paint worked out, but the flame effects, the ashen wings, the weathering of the armor, and a nice base with a little bit of OSL thrown into it for good measures. I got some crackle paint on the base as well. But yeah, he is done and ready for my display case. I did put a finish on him. Get the back of him there. Turn them by hand because I don't have a turning little pedestal. But yeah, like I said, I've had this guy since he came out in 1985. Probably had 3 to 4 coats of paint on him, no primer at all. But he cleaned up very well. And I'm glad I got a chance to revisit him and hopefully do him justice. I actually found out that the sculptor lives here in Ohio, so I emailed some mid-work pictures of him, and yeah, hopefully he received those. But yep, I am completely satisfied with how he turned out. So, thank you for watching. Appreciate you following me on this little journey to rekindle some old flames. Yeah, sorry, dad jokes. But yeah, give me a like if you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and get the bell icon a little love there so you get all the new content. And yeah, we'll be back next time with the start of a new build. Alright, from both of us to you, take care, stay healthy out there.